Let's go! Adrenaline! Adrenaline! Running through my veins! Good afternoon, I'm Robin Banks, and welcome back to the Formula X1X Championship. The British Heart Foundation provides funding for research on all kinds of heart disease, defects, and tech for the future, including mechanical hearts and transplants. It's a very close-to-home charity, so we support it all we can, and you can too. Just tap in bhf.org.uk on your web browser. You are helping to save someone's life. It's round 6, and we're in Germany at the Nürburgring GP circuit close to the town of Nürburg itself. Nürburgring GP is in its own right a very popular track in the BHF Championships, and its bigger brother Nordschleife has been the stage for many a clench fest. It's a tricky circuit where less really is more, with a slow first section leading into flat-out straights and long flowing corners. The track is 3.2 miles in length, with the longest straight of half a mile and a total of 15 corners. After a very well-deserved win for Carlos Puntarino and Brian Messiah taking the win at Brands Hatch, luckily for Rico, he still holds a 26-point lead in the championship. But could this be the turning point, as there clearly is a challenge for the title in reach for many other drivers? And this is by no means a time for rest for Team Kawasaki, as they will be keeping their guard firmly up. I'll hand you over now to our ex-race driver and technical guru, Dave Unshaw, who has been out in his car this morning doing our lap focus. Dave said he feels like Lewis Hamilton going round this track and says he's giving it the absolute beans. How's it going, Dave? Many thanks, Robin. And yes, here we go for a lap focus of the Nürburgring GP. Hammering down the main street at 177 miles an hour in 6th gear, and then hard on the brakes into the Mercedes Arena. 47 mile an hour first gear through here, quick short shift up to 5, and then 94 miles an hour around this left-hander, and down towards this really hard left-hander that comes really back in on itself. 59 miles an hour second gear, building up to 83 mile an hour third gear through that little right-hander, and then on the gas, 151 mile an hour fifth gear before hitting the brakes, hammering around the forward curve at 115 mile an hour, and then down to 77 mile an hour for the right-hander, and hard on the gas, 162 mile an hour sixth gear down through here to the Dunlop curve, and then 73 mile an hour second gear, trying to get a good exit out of here, and up through this set of corners is absolutely paramount. Up through the Schumacher S's, 155 mile an hour fifth gear through here, and then up to the curve. This is 101 mile an hour fourth gear corner, and then over to Warsteiner, which is 105 mile an hour fourth gear corner into the right hander, and then back on the gas, hammering it down through Adventbogen and down towards the NGK chicane at 174 mile an hour sixth gear, and then slamming on the brakes just up to the 100-meter board, hitting the chicane curve and through into the right-hander, and then back on the gas towards Coca-Cola, down to third gear, 83 mile an hour third corner around here, and then hard on the gas down towards the start straight, crossing the line at a whopping 144 mile an hour fifth gear. It really is a great track, Robin, and you really do feel like a Formula 1 driver here. Good luck, guys. Have fun. Many thanks, Dave. So let's take a look at our grid lineup today. On pole position with a staggering 135.7 lap is Carlos Puntarino. In second place, Damon Puntarino. In third, Rico Mortis. In fourth, Archie Angelo. In fifth, Artie Fonati. In sixth, Brian Messiah. In seventh place, Halen Van Eddy, and in eighth place, our new wildcard, Slugsy Malone. We welcome Slugsy, and it's a pleasure to have him on the grid. In ninth place, Alex Anders. In 10th place, Wyatt Earth. Great to see Wyatt back with us on the grid. And in 11th place, a new wildcard and very welcome is Gert Bies. In 12th, Simon Bouquet. And 13th for Lydia Champagne, and rounding out the grid in 14th, also a fantastic to see Fabio back on the grid where he belongs. So that's our lineup for today. So here we are, folks. For round 6 of the British Heart Foundation X1X Championship. Weather is 21 degrees and track temperature 23 degrees, 12 a.m. local time. And we're off. Everybody gets a really good start off the line. David Punterino and Carlos Punterino with Rico Mortis side by side with Archie down into the first turn. Everybody desperately trying not to mess this up. Archie gets all kinds of out of shape. Going around the Mercedes arena. Alexanders tries to dive up the inside of Brian Messiah. Gets the job done, but bumps right into the back of Artie Fanati. Coming out of the Mercedes arena and gets a drive. Brian Messiah dives back up the inside of Alexanders. What a move that was. Alex gets him on the cutback though. Wyatt Earp gets a very good start off the grid in 9th place. Into the Ford S they go with Halen Vannetti, desperately trying to hold on to the front pack with Gert Bies right up his jacksie. Hammering down towards the Dunlop curve. Brian Messiah desperately trying to hang on to the back of Alexanders with Slugsy Malone and Wyatt Earp in hot pursuit. Blisteringly fast into the Schumacher S's, up towards the RTL curve and into Warsteiner. Into the left-hander and into the Warsteiner, the right-hander. Can Brian hang on to the back of Alexanders down the back straight? Archie recovered from that really bad start, currently running in 5th position. Chasing Artie Fanati. Looks like Carlos Punterino starting to clear off. He had a cracking start off the line. Out of the clench fest they call the MGK chicane and down towards Coca-Cola. Archie looking for that all-important exit down the main straight. Alexander's all over the back of him. Fabio Nitrelli doing a fantastic job in 11th place with Gert Bies, the wild card, right up his jacksie. Hammering down towards turn 1 and into the Mercedes arena. Can Fabio get it stopped and not allow Gert Bies up the inside? Fabio goes out wide. Gert Bies looking for a bit of drive here to try and get around Fabio. On board with our wild card Slugsy Malone out through the end of the Mercedes arena and down towards the Ford curve. Trying desperately to stay on the back of Brian Messiah. Down into the left-hander. Prepping himself up for a good exit. Brian Messiah's on the back of Alexanders trying to find a way through. Alex is having none of it. Gert Bies also looking for a way around Fabio Nitrelli. Down towards Dunlop. Can he make a move? He takes a lunge out the inside into Dunlop. Can Fabio get late on the brakes? He does, side by side around the Dunlop curve. Gert Bies is on the inside trying to get past. Fabio's having none of it. Lydia Champagne is also joining this fight, but Fabio's got the inside line through the Schumacher S's. Up the hill towards the RTL curve. Fabio holding off Gert Bies all the way. Fabio hammering up into the RTL curve. Goes a little bit hard, that might ruin his exit. He's in the gravel trap. Comes out, hits Gert Bies straight into the side. That could have been absolutely catastrophic for all 3 cars there. My word, Fabio, you are pushing hard. That lets Simon Bouquet through. Very unfortunate for Fabio Nitrelli. Needs to regain some composure. He's on the grass going out of the chicane. Something's not right here. He may have had a technical. Maybe the brakes failed. We'll see. We've got a replay. Looks like Alexander's went in too hot also and ended up in the gravel. Easy done, that is, when you're being hounded by several cars. Slugsy Malone right on the back of Brian Messiah now with Wyatt Earp also in hot pursuit. Brilliant to see Wyatt Earp running in 8th place. Slugsy looking very fine in his new X1X car. Archie is really holding his own here, Dave. I tell you, he's looking good. Good morning, everybody, or afternoon, should I say? Yeah, he's really looking good now, Robin. I'll tell you, he's found some form. Looks like Fabio Nitrelli's retired. He really is trying to fend off Brian Messiah down to the Dunlop curve. But yeah, he looks very smooth, Dave. They're looking good. Yeah, they're looking very good. Nice to see Wyatt on track too. That is, fantastic. And Wyatt looks like he's got the handle on this already. On his first time back as well. He is doing good. Great. It's brilliant to see. Do you know where Wyatt's been then, Dave? Because I heard he's still not 100%, but he's definitely getting better. Well, he is suffering from a condition known as windicitis. It's something wrong with a bowel, and he's still struggling a bit because you know what happened to him, don't you? Well, last I heard, he'd retired from racing. What's the story behind it, Dave? Well, as I understand it, Wyatt was found somehow locked in a shipping container, laden with Brussels sprouts on its way to Brazil via Antarctica. Blimey, Dave, I'm surprised he didn't die. How the hell did he, survive all that? Is this a long way to Brazil from Antarctica? Well, he survived on Brussels sprouts. That's why he's got this acute windicitis, apparently. He'd almost farted himself to death by the sounds of it. Blimey, I should think he'll put the tear-off underpants system through its paces today then, Dave. But, it's great to see you back. Welcome back, White Hart. We've missed you. Carlos is exceptionally glad to have his teammate back, as Damon Puntarino is almost on the back of Carlos Puntarino, and I know that Damon in practice was absolutely phenomenal. Although I heard he was a bit gutted that he got beaten to pole by Carlos, his cousin. That was one hell of a qualifying session, Dave. There was a lot going on. I can tell you, there was Rico was almost chucked it in because he just could not get a lap, and somehow managed to shove himself back into third on the grid, which was absolutely phenomenal in the last 3 minutes. It was. I watched him go out, and I'll tell you what, he crashed the car and all during qualifying. He ended up in the grass. He must have been absolutely fuming, I should think, as Brian Messiah takes a look up the inside of Archie Angelo, but thinks better of it going into that really sharp right-hander. But I tell you what, Dave, old Slugsy Malone, he's on the back of these pair. He's right there, and I'll tell you what, he's on racing softs too, whereas this lot are on, super soft, so he is holding his own. That is something to do, that is. It's great to see some new drivers, and old drivers, of course, rejoin the championship, like Fabio, Wyatt, Slugsy Malone as a wild card, and, Gert Mies as well. That's fantastic. It's always great to see some new blood come into the championship. I know we've had it many times before where people do a race and, it's, hard cuff. Sorry to interrupt you, Dave, but Brian Messiah is all over the back of Archie Angelo now. Can Archie hold his own as they go up towards the Schumacher S's and into RTL? Brian is looking for a way past here, and I find out Archie Angelo. There is no way he's going to let that happen. Into Warsteiner, trying to get a good exit out of here. It goes very wide, almost touches the curb, but holds it together. Brian is surely going to try and make a move into the chicane, Dave. It does look that way. He's lining himself up. He might try and make a lunge, but Archie takes that defensive line, so, it's on your end, be it. But, Brian's coming up the inside of him. Brian Messiah may well do the move into the Coca-Cola chicane, and he does. What a lovely, clean move that was, Dave. That was a fantastic move by our double champion. Looks like Archie Angelo swerving. Brian's trying to block him down into that first right-hander of the Mercedes arena. But Archie Angelo puts himself on the outside, which puts him on the inside, going around the Mercedes arena. Looked like Slugsy Malone had one hell of a caper there. That looked like it let Wyatt Earp through. Archie puts himself in a really good position there and takes that position back from Brian Messiah. But can he hold him off down towards the Ford curves? Brian Messiah is not letting this get away, and yes, Wyatt Earp definitely got past Slugsy Malone then. That was a big mistake there. That was too much throttle, I think, Dave, on pickup from that corner, don't you think? Yeah, you get on the gas a bit too early there in a low gear, and that can really spin that car out, and that's what happened to Slugsy. He controlled it well, though. He held the slide. You have to have reflexes of a cat to rein in these cars, I tell you, people. Archie Angelo being absolutely hounded by Brian Messiah. Brian wreaking havoc, trying to get past Archie into the RTL curve and then into Warsteiner. Archie's eyes will be fixed on that apex to try and get that perfect exit out of here. And down the back straight through Advent Bogan, which is that little right-hander, and then up towards the NGK chicane. Can Archie hold Brian off through here again? Archie must surely take a defensive line this time, Dave. He cuts over and, blocks Brian's, attack route on that, but spins up a little bit on exit there. That will have cost him down the straight. No doubt Brian Messiah will be looking to make a move again. Can he get the job done into that really sharp right-hander? It is an awful corner, Dave. That is a really tricky corner to get right, and if you go in too early, you can hit that drop in the... there's like a drop there in the camber, and it really upsets the car through there. It looks like Archie Angelo hit it perfectly, and he gets a good exit, but he is spinning up a little bit here and there, trying desperately to gather the reins of this car. On board with Brian Messiah, chasing Archie Angelo through the Ford curves into that right-hander, doing all he can to get a good exit and get that run down towards the Dunlop curve. He is in Archie's slipstream now. Will he make a lunge up the inside? Brian won't waste any time trying to get past Archie Angelo. He knows that the front four are pulling away. That's Artie Fenati in the distance there. He must have a good 6 to 8 second lead on these guys, Dave. Artie's doing really well. He's, being in 4th place. He missed a round. He missed the Red Bull wet round due to, he actually plays in a rock band, so he was doing a gig. It clashed with the round, but he went off and done that and, really enjoyed himself, which is, that's what life's all about. Archie got one hell of a good exit out of our state today. Looks like Slugsley Manone is trying to move over Wyatt out, but Wyatt takes that defensive line, but Slugsy's sitting. I really think, Wyatt is doing so well to come back to this, and, how he's not feeling 100% at the minute. But I'll tell you what, Slugsy Malone, he could be a really good contender in this championship. I know we're halfway through it now, but he could, next championship, if he stays with this lot, he will do really well, I can tell you. Always a pleasure to have new blood, and also don't forget Gert Bees Dave as well. He's a newcomer. Hopefully, he'll can make good of this round and really enjoy himself. Really hope so. It's by no means is this easy, I tell you. And by the way, some dicky bird told me that you went and did a track event with Damon Punterino's racing school. I don't know who told you that, Dave, but yes, you're correct. I did go and do a event with Damon Punterino and his racing school, and I tell you what, I thoroughly enjoyed myself. Where did you race then, Robin? Well, we've been kind of training all week, and I actually found some pace. I was in a little, what do you call it? A Renault Megane, is it? Or Clio, something like that. And we were in Alsace in France. And I to believe it or not, Dave, I actually came second in the race. Second in the race? Well, I don't believe that for a minute. No, you wouldn't believe it, Dave, but I'd practiced hard, and David said I was coming on really well, and he said I ought to try the race, so I did.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be aware that unfortunately we have now run out of ice cream from the van by the main gate. Please put the van back on its wheels and release Oberleutnant von Whippy from capture, or we'll have to call in reinforcements to dissipate the situation. Thank you.
I could hear that shouting and screaming, Dave. I wasn't sure what that was, but obviously that's what it is. They've ran out of ice cream and terrorising that poor van driver. I'll tell you what, we have some right nutters turn up for these races, I tell you. They got no patience whatsoever. And, to be honest with you, if you run out of ice cream on a round like this, then you want your head looking at. Yeah, but there was one hell of a queue, Dave. They were all there hurrying, trying to get back to their seat for this ice cream, but obviously Pete's got a little bit out of hand. Talking of out of hand, Rico Mortis is almost on the back of David Punterino. He's gained a hell of a lot of ground here, Dave. He has, and Carlos and Damon took off into the distance at the start of the race, and obviously, tyres are starting to go off. We're on lap 9 now. I would expect that some of these guys will go in the pits on this lap. I think it's a bit hard on the tyres to try and do the one stop, so, let's see what happens. Yeah, you're right, Dave. Carlos is definitely leading the procession into the pits. Looks like all three of the front guys have gone in. Archie Angelo still being hounded by Brian Messiah. He's managed to hold him off for quite a few laps there, Dave. Archie's doing a fantastic job, I tell you. He really is doing well here. If he can bring this home, I do fear he should have gone in the pits, though. I mean, I don't know how long he's going to stay out, but, I would have followed the front lot. If they'd have gone in, I'd have gone in. That's for sure. I suppose, you know, he's tried to stay out a little bit longer and gain some distance, but like you say, if the pace isn't there because you want rubbish tyres, you're not really going to make that much difference. You won't make any difference. You know, they'll come out when next time you come round, they'll come out of the pits on fresh tyres, and if you stay out any longer than that, you're going to suffer in the race. It'll push you right back, it will do. Brian Messiah gets a lovely exit out of the Mercedes arena and makes a lovely move around Archangelo. That was absolute class, Dave, and like you say, if Archie's tyres have gone off, he probably starts struggling now, and Brian will go away from him. Watch this space, because normally the guy at the front is the one that's pushing hard, the one at the back is, you know, in the slipstream, not using so much fuel, and also, you know, going a little bit steady and just applying that little bit of pressure. You can see Brian's pulling a hell of a gap on Archie already. It doesn't take long, I tell you folks, for Brian Messiah to get revved up and get going. He's in second place at the moment, but Brian hasn't pitted yet, so that will definitely make him slip a bit more down the order. I know Brian suffered a little bit at not Brad's hatch. Hello, what's going on here, Dave? Replay for Alexander's. Alex coming around a Coca-Cola turn. Yeah, stamps on the gas pedal, and I would imagine his tyres are shot. That's what caused that, because I don't think Alex has got in the pitch yet. You see what I mean, though? You know, it's difficult trying to make a decision and get a strategy that's going to work. You know, I mean, things can go horribly wrong. I tell you what, Dave, Gert Bees is looking absolutely stunning in that beautiful Yamaha. That looks really, really nice, and you know, it's a pleasure, absolute pleasure to have Bees in the championship, even if it is just as a wild card. I know he has a lot of commitments, but he is definitely doing quite well for the first go. He is. We always say this, you know, we have quite a high tyre wear, and it does take a bit of getting used to. But once you start getting into it, you know, this could be a great fun championship to be in. I know that. Archangelo now leading the race on lap 11. I would imagine that Archie must be pitting anytime soon, though, Dave. He might have to, because Carlos, Rico and Damon Puntorino's back out the pits, and I'll tell you what, looks like Rico's overtaken Damon during the pit stop. I would imagine that Damon had used a bit more fuel and took a bit longer to fill up, unless he put more fuel in for a longer run, but that's definitely put Rico in second now. Looking back though, Dave, Damon is almost on the back of Rico Mortis, and we all know how fast Damon Puntorino can go. I'll imagine Rico will be just thinking to himself, keep it smooth, for God's sake, man, don't make a mistake. He will. I watched Rico in practice today, and, you know, as Carlos Puntorino shoots up the inside of Archangelo, because, as Archie's on worn tyres, he got to get in the pits, surely. As Carlos Puntorino made that look a bit too easy, I think. Meanwhile, Damon Puntorino, he's set the fastest lap of the race so far, and he is definitely going to be hounding Rico Mortis within a few laps here, Dave, I tell you. I would imagine Damon's probably grinning to himself, thinking, right, Mr. Mortis, the tide's turned now, I'm going to put the pressure on you instead. I would imagine that's exactly what Damon Puntorino is thinking. He's going to try and force Rico into a mistake. Here's Rico's teammate, Simon Bouquet, running in 12th place. Back from his holidays last week, apparently. He took the family on a no-expense-spared break to Skegness, I believe. Packed up the tent and off they went. I'll tell you what, when Bouquet goes on holiday, he don't half go in style, doesn't he, you know? 5-star tent. Slugsy Malone is now being hounded by Brian Messiah, taking that defensive line around the Mercedes arena, keeping it on the inside, trying not to open a door for this shark, as he's surely to be known from now on. It's funny you should say that, Robin, because I've been thinking that for a little while now. You know, he does sort of look like a shark going round the track waiting for finding something to eat. Lydia Champagne is hoping that it's not her, but he is busy with Slugsy at the moment. Great to see Lydia on the grid, Dave. She is doing a phenomenal job here. We love having Lydia on the grid. She is an absolute, what's the word? Inspiration, I think, Dave, is the word you're looking for. Yeah, that's it, inspiration. Yeah, she is doing a absolute cracking job here. I tell you what, Dave, in all the fuss, I didn't realise that that Fabio Nitrelli had retired. I did say that a while back. Shortly after that crash, he left. I'm guessing he had a technical, I would have thought. He must be absolutely furious, first race, and, ends up having a technical in the first few laps. He must be going absolutely bananas, I should think. Well, you would, wouldn't you? You've had enough time to get his car prepared and, make him competitive, and he must be absolutely jumping, I would think. Here's a guy that's been quietly going about his business. Halen Van Eddy is running in 9th place. Not too far behind Archie Angelo either, by the look of it. Always doing a great job is Halen Van Eddy. Back with Brian Messiah and Slugsy Malone. Brian's right on the back of Slugsy coming down the Mercedes Arena, trying to get that run down towards the Ford curve. Can he make it work? Looking for a way past. Slugsy is definitely not letting him go. On board with Brian Messiah, chasing Slugsy Malone. He almost slams into the back of Slugsy then. That would have been a tear-off underpants moment if there ever was one, Dave. I did see the flash. That would have gone straight into the crowd. I should think they'll be gathering that up so they can get it signed after the race. I know Brian has many fans in the stands today. He'll be doing a bit of signing later, I would think. I'll tell you what, Slugsy Malone's holding his own here in 5th place. He's doing a fantastic job. Through these curves, and for a first time out, this is absolutely phenomenal stuff. He is more than welcome here, I'll tell you. I would imagine he'll just do a few wild cards for now, Dave, but, think about maybe joining a championship in the next one. There'd be no point in trying to join this. He just, join it and have fun at the moment, I would say, and just find his feet. I was going to say exactly the same thing. That's the best thing to do. Just, have a go, see how you like it after a few rounds, and then, make a decision from there. But I tell you what, Brian Messiah's definitely found another fish to feed on, Dave. He has. You're right there. He's right up the back of this guy. I should imagine when Slugsy looks in his rearview mirror, he'd see the whites of Brian's eyes, I would think. I'll tell you what, boy, it's not too far behind either. He's hanging on to the back of this lot. So we're almost at the halfway point in the race, folks. So let's go down to pit lane where Paddy Fitzwendy, our ex-alcoholic and Saturday night party animal, is talking to our special guest. How's it going, Paddy?
Many thanks, Robin. I'm down here in pit lane talking to Hands Off Me Furburger.
Achtung! My name is Hands Off Furburger.
Sorry, it looked like something else on my sheet. I do apologise. So, Hands Off here is Chief Whip and owner of Furburger Technologies, and now has a working prototype of the new system we've all been keen to see. How's the system coming along?
The system, aka anti-bogey, is working, but not without some flaws that still need to be addressed.
You say flaws, what do you mean?
At the moment, we are working on accuracy, as people are all different, i.e. faces come in all shapes and sizes. We have had some issues with the system missing the tissue, which resulted in ripping off half of one of the test subjects' mustache, and another nearly losing an eye, etc.
Oh, that sounds very painful.
The worst case was one of the test subjects' tongue nearly got ripped out of their mouth, and we had to completely shut down the system before it could be released. If you are offering your services as a test subject, please see me after the interview.
Blimey, O'Reilly, that sounds terrible. So how have you got around these issues?
We now have to train the robot arms, i.e. configure the system for each individual for it to work safely. But there is light at the ends of the tunnel.
I don't think I'll offer my services as a test subject just yet. Back to you, Robin.
Many thanks, Paddy. That was a great interview, and now I think I'd hold off for a little while myself. I tell you what, though, Dave, it's a very exciting time for, new technology coming through. As we just witnessed Brian Messiah overtake Slugsy Malone in that fantastic maneuver into the Mercedes Arena just now. But we haven't seen Artie Fanati for a little while, and he's doing a great job in 4th place, running a very lonely race, though, Dave. I would think Artie Fanati thinks they've been all zapped up by aliens by now. I would have thought the track looks very lonely. I heard, Dave, that Slugsy Malone has already had a meeting with Hans-Hoff Furberger, who's very interested in implementing the technology into Sky Pants after Slugsy showed off his new splatter gun. I wouldn't be surprised. Hans-Hoff's always looking for, new technology and, bits and bobs to sort of... He's very much a man cave man, I would say. I've heard that. I've heard he, even when he's finished work, he ends up in his shed, doing odds and ends, making up stuff, sort of prototype, models and things like that. Yeah, and Hans-Hoff loves all this type of stuff, doesn't he? He thrives on it. I tell you what, Dave, Rico Mortis is on the back of Carlos Punterino now. He's gained some ground in these last few corners here. If you're right, Dave, I would imagine they'll go in the pits on lap 18. And then Rico may do 10 laps this one. I don't know. These guys will definitely have calculated when they're going to be doing what, when and where. I know that. They'll be very well prepared indeed. That's always the best way to be, though, Dave. We always say that. It is definitely the best way to be. You need to get some laps in. Rico goes a little bit deep into that chicane, though. That would have cost him a bit of time there. I haven't driven this track, Dave, but that chicane does look very scary indeed. You've got to get that so right, I tell you. If you get it so wrong, you soon know about it. Lydia Champagne running in 12th place. Looks like Gert Bees has retired from the race. Such a shame. Never mind, it happens to the best of us sometimes. Enough is enough. I'll tell you what though, Lydia Champagne, she never quits. She sees it through right to the very end. She's always, getting a few points here and there for Team Tiger. She's doing a great job. I've spoken to Lydia quite a few times, Dave. She is a really, really nice girl, I tell you. Well, she is, but I'll tell you what, if this car ain't working right, she goes in there and gets her whip out the locker. You see the mechanics run for it. I've heard the freaking crack of that whip, and then you see about 4 or 5 of them tailing it out through the garage door. Quite funny though, because you see them hot-tailing out through the garage door, and then you see Bouquet lurking in the background. Yeah, well, he's used to that sort of thing. Rico Mortis is all over the back of Carlos Punterino now, just applying that little bit of pressure, but we all know that Carlos is absolutely used to this. He won't be battering an eyelid, I wouldn't think. Can Rico line up a move into the NGK chicane? He looks like he's going to, Dave. He is taking a look, but I think he's decided against that because, it can go horribly wrong here, and he wouldn't want to ruin Carlos's race or his own, so he would definitely, hold off a bit and bide his time. He's getting a good run out of the Coca-Cola turn, and he is right on the back of Carlos Punterino. He may well make a move down into the first turn. Can he get it done? No, he's still going to follow, Dave. If I know Rico, he'll probably follow Carlos and then pit on this lap, I would imagine. He may well do 10 in the middle, I don't know, but if it were me, I'd pit now and then and leave the 10 till the end. We shall have to wait and see, folks, but he is definitely terrorising Carlos Punterino, if you can call it that. And now they're almost catching Lydia Champagne too. Lydia pulls aside. Didn't have to quite go through the, cutting the grass, but she definitely let these pair through, which is good. Abiding by blue flag rules, and it looked like Damon at the back came past as well. He's also in contention here. We haven't seen a hell of a lot of these guys, to be honest with you. It looks like we're on board with Rico Mortis now, up through the Schumacher S's and up towards the RTL curve. Very difficult left-hander. Got to get this just right, otherwise it really screws up the exit out of Varsteiner, which is this turn here. Rico's getting a good drive there. He's in Carlos's slipstream too. You can see how much he's catching up. Doing a fantastic job on the straight here, but he's backing off now. He's not going to go for a lunge. That tells me that Rico may well pit here. Let's see what happens. Yeah, he's pitting on lap 9. I thought he might. You were dead right, Dave. But Carlos is going for that extra lap. He may well stay out. I know Carlos pitted on lap 9 as well, so he must be doing like a 9, 10, and probably 9 after this one. Well, it will be 9 after this one if he pits on lap 19, of course. Simon Bouquet, just talking about him a minute ago. He's, quietly going about his business in 11th place, bringing up the rear and gaining some very, very valuable points for Team Kawasaki, who are at the top of the leaderboards at the moment. I tell you what, Dave, if Rico wins this will be his fourth win of the season. That will be, not a bad tally. Yeah, it will, but don't forget he is not unbeatable because Brian beat him at Brands Hatch and Carlos beat him at Red Bull, so, this ain't over by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah, I know it could all go downhill. I know that Monza is definitely one of Rico's nemesis tracks. He did tell me that Monza's probably his worst. Yeah, Monza could be another, point-collecting ground for Brian Messiah. He's good there, and so's Carlos, by the way. He loves Monza too. Artie Fenati running in second place. Carlos Punterino up the road in first. Surely Carlos will come in on this lap. Looks like Artie Fenati's going to have Brian Messiah for company before long as well. Not sure when Artie did his pit stops, but he could definitely be running on worn tyres, I would think. Brian's catching him quite a bit. Artie looks like he may be on worn tyres. He's not pulling. Yeah, definitely. Brian's catching him up now. Yeah, you're right, Robbie. Carlos is pitted on this lap, so he's doing a 9:10.9 run, whereas obviously Rico's doing a 9:9.10. We shall have to see how this pans out, folks. Halen Vanetti in 9th place. Lap 19, bringing up the rear for Team Kianus. They're not really called Kianus, it's Kignus or however you pronounce it. I know what it says, but I know David Punterino said Kianus a while back and it kind of stuck with me, Dave. Halen Vanetti shooting into the NGK chicane. Looks like White Earth and Slugsy Malone has now got in the pits. Slugsy's still running on soft tyres, Dave. I'll tell you what, if he's running at the pace he's doing on softs, and God only knows what pace he'll do on super softs. David Punterino in third place, lap 20. Coming out of the Mercedes arena into that tricky right-hander. Very hard to get that corner right, Dave. I once heard Fabio Detrelli tell me that he reckoned that first sector on that track is it's kind of, less is more are the actual words that he used. And I would have to agree with Fabio because, you go in that too quick, it really does screw up the exit. You've got to sort of, go out a bit wide, cut that first part of the corner off, the end of the left-hander and then square it up to get that exit down onto the straight down towards the forward curves. It does look like they're almost standing still when they go around the Mercedes arena compared to the speeds that they're pulling on the rest of the track. Oh yeah, it does. They are touching, 179, 80 mile an hour up the back straight here. Artie Fenati back in 6th place, chasing Halen Vanetti by the look of it. And he's still got Brian Messiah hounding him from behind, so he'll be trying to hang on to this. Will Artie Fenati try and make a move into the NGK chicane? It looks like he is lining himself up for it, straight out of Advan Bogan. Can he beat him on the brakes? Artie goes through. It looked to me, Dave, that Halen Vanetti let Brian Messiah through then as well. He did look like that, and I would imagine that Halen would have thought to himself, come on, mate, you are quicker than me, you get going, because, he's no fool, is Halen Vanetti. He'll know that the team points are more that matters here than, ruining Brian's race. Brian takes a nice move up the inside, though. If Artie's tyres are gone, he'll get this manoeuvre done easy. Artie Fenati's tyres may be done, but he ain't over yet, Dave. He's trying to get back up the inside of Brian Messiah, but I think you're right. I think Artie might be on board tyres, and, Brian is definitely going for it. He's lost a bit of grip there trying to come out of the Mercedes arena. He did, but he does extend that arc on that first left-hander to get that run out through, and that gives him a good exit. And as you can see, he's not that far behind. Lydia Champagne, slips over and lets Brian and Fenati through. Good old Lydia, well done, girl. I tell you what though, Dave, if Artie Fenati brings this back in 5th place, that ain't a bad shout for his, because he's, like I say, he missed Red Bull and he's been off this car for a little while, so he's doing a cracking job, I feel. Artie Fenati beats himself up a bit sometimes, but he's always in top 5. It's very, very rare he's beyond top 5. And to be top 5 in this championship, it's some feat, I can tell you, folks. It is, don't forget these guys are used to these settings and, the tyre wear and the fuel, and they've got the strategies working well. They know what's coming, know how to prepare for it, and put the practice in to be at the top here. Wyatt Earp in running in 7th place. Absolutely phenomenal and great to see Wyatt Earp back in the championship. We've said it a couple of times already, but it really is. We are so chuffed to see him bringing up, helping Carlos Punterino get some much-needed points for the Team Alien. We all thought he'd been zapped up by aliens because he never made it to the Brazil round, and obviously, he was stuck in a container. I tell you what though, Dave, it's a good job it wasn't an empty container, because he would have died of starvation, no doubt. Yeah, but can you imagine living off of Brussels sprouts? God, blimey, Christmas time, I tell you, when the old folks come round and we all have Brussels sprouts once a year, and, the rest of the afternoon is spent, wafting farts around the living room, it's, you can't imagine living on that stuff. You don't half describe it well, Mr. Unsure, I tell you. And yes, the stupid thing is you're not so far from the truth either. Oh, my word. Well, at least he's safe and well and back where he belongs with the X1X circus. So, the British Heart Foundation circus, should I say. Back with Lydia Champagne in 12th place. I noticed Lydia's been running on hard tyres, Dave. Is that something that you would do? It all depends on the feeling you got, If you feel confident on hard tyres and you think they'll last a little bit longer, well, by all means go on hard tyres. But you do definitely lose, a lot of pace compared to super softs for sure. But if I know Lydia, she'll just want to bring it home. And that's all that matters. She knows she's not going to make up ground. She'll just try and bring it home now. She will. She'll definitely finish the race. And we always take our hat off to her. She does really well. Feel a little bit sorry for Alexander's running in 10th place, though, Dave. He's had a couple of offs here and there and, struggled a little bit. It's just such a shame to see Alex, struggling again, especially at this track, because we all know that Alex likes the Nürburgring. Yeah, I know what you mean, sometimes we all have those weekends where it just goes horribly wrong all the time. And yeah, I know team...
Ladies and gentlemen, reinforcements have now been called to help Oberleutnant von Whippy from his ice cream van. I urge you all to flee from the area as the water cannon is now coming through the main gate. Thank you.
Blimey, Davey, they've got the water cannon out now. They must be really going bananas here. Trouble is, it's quite warm, It was 21 degrees earlier, but it's definitely gone up a few degrees now. People are getting a bit fed up. Ice cream's running low, and, what would you do? You'd take matters into your own hands. That poor ice cream van man must be absolutely terrified, I would think. I'll tell you what, I could hear it from here, and it sounded, that film 28 Weeks Later when they've got, like their eyes go all red and is frothing at the mouth and going berserk. That's what they look like down there. It's, scary stuff. Thank God we're safe here inside the commentary booth. It's Archie Angelo, currently running in 8th place. Goes down into the Mercedes arena. This won't be too bad a result for Archie, Dave, I feel. Yeah, Archie's had a few, rough rounds for sure. That's that, he's got the skill, He's just got to, rein it all in and, put it all together. Basically, we all know how fast he is. He is a very fast driver indeed. Like you say, it's all about pulling it all together. That's the thing. And for sure, this is not one of the easiest tracks in the world. There's quite a few difficult corners here and a lot of places where you can make up some good time, if you know where to gain that. 4 laps left to go, people. We are almost at the end of round 6. I can see Simon Bouquet's fan standing up, waving his flag. I'll tell you what, if he watches this back, you're going to get a slap, you are, talking like that. I was only pulling his leg. I hope he does watch this. He knows I'm only joking. This looks like the Carlos and Rico battle is about to continue. Carlos has definitely come out the pits again, and Rico is back with Carlos. He did look like he pulled away for a little while there, Dave. Carlos did. He made up some ground in the first few laps of that run. He did, these last run here. He, obviously trying to get as far away from this green thing as he can. I tell you what though, Dave, Rico is definitely closing now. It does look that way. It does look like Rico's catching. He is definitely, you're dead right, Robin. He is catching up with Carlos. I would imagine he's using that boost function, Dave, which reduces drag so he can, get right on the back of Carlos Puntarino. You're dead right, Robin. That looks exactly what's happening. You can see now how much ground he's gaining up here into the NGK chicane. Rico may well try and overtake Carlos in these last few laps. Done half-cut that chicane. Hello, what's happening here? Hello. Rico's in first. Carlos has crashed at the chicane. Oh, we got a replay. Let's have a look. Oh, look at that. You could just see his left wheel there. Left rear wheel caught the grass as he planted that throttle, and that just kicked him straight out. What a shame. That was not that's not a mistake you would normally get from Carlos Puntarino. Halen Vanelli running in 9th place. Lap 25. Not running too bad a pace though, Dave. Looking at his timing board, he's been running in the 138, 139s. That ain't bad for round here on race pace. That's pretty good. Halen's just probably unfortunate that he got swallowed up in the first few laps, and it's really hard to try and get through the pack and get up to the front. And we all know that Halen Vanelli can very well run at the front. There's no doubt about that. Like you say, it's just sometimes it's just the luck of the draw on the first few laps. It's always like that, you can be the fastest guy in the world, but if you get stuck behind a load of people, behind a load of cars, you're going to struggle. That's a dead cert. Wyatt Earp still maintaining that 7th place. Got 3 laps to go now. Did you know that Wyatt designed the liveries for these alien cars, Dave? No, I did not know that. He's obviously got, he's a very talented individual. He has done a very nice job, there's no doubt about that. Here's a guy we haven't seen for a long time, is David Puntarino. He's been quietly going about his business in 3rd place. If he brings this home, that'll be another podium for David, Dave. And I tell you what, if this finishes like this, the podium will be almost exactly the same as Red Bull, except that Carlos and Rico have swapped positions. It ain't over yet, Robin. Do not count your chickens. If I had chickens, Dave, I would definitely not count them at the moment. You're dead right. David Puntarino coming into the Coca-Cola curve to start the penultimate lap, scrubbing off that penalty. Will he take it straight into lap 27? It looked like he did. Here's our remaining wild card, Slugsy Malone. I'll tell you what, Dave, that's a really nice looking car. I love that colour scheme. Yeah, I'd agree with you there. I do like that colour scheme. I like red. Red cars are really nice. Unless you're driving through a field with bulls, Dave. When I was racing for Reliant, right, they gave me their top-end model car, right, which was in fact a red Reliant Robin, right, a lovely car, alloy wheels, well, 2 of them anyway. It had all the extras, like window winders and stuff like that, and a heater. That was an extra back then, and I took my missus out for a picnic, right, in a field, and we just quietly drove in with this Reliant Robin, and I tell you what, we didn't half get out of there quick. Why, what happened, Dave? It was only a field full of cows and a bull, and the bull saw my red Reliant Robin and went absolutely berserk. We had to get out of there really quick, I can tell you. So I take it you didn't bother jumping back in the car then, Dave, you just ran for it? You guessed it, we absolutely pegged it out of that field, and I had to go and get the farmer to, take his bull out so I could get my car out of there, and I had to pay him for rental of my car parking space. That's insane, Dave. You could have been killed. Yeah, but my missus pointed the sign out saying beware of the bull, and I just went, don't be daft, love, they ain't going to be in there today. But at least you're here to tell the story, Dave, as we start the final lap of round 6 of the Formula 1 X1X Championship, supporting the British Heart Foundation. Rico Mortis is on his final lap, and it looks like he may well bring this one home. He's just got a few more corners to go. This will be Rico's 4th win of the season if he manages to bring this in. Carlos Puntarino's quite a way back by the look of it. That was Simon Bouquet in the background there. I think he's been lapped. Rico coming up through the Schumacher S's and up towards the RTL left-hander into Barsteiner, and ready to hammer down the back straight through Advent Bogan turn and up towards the NGK chicane. Looks like he's taking it a bit steady there, Dave. That's exactly what I'd be doing now. He's got a bit of a gap back to Carlos. He doesn't need to make a mistake into this chicane. Yeah, look, nice and steady as she goes. Bangs into the rubber dildo and then, gets that little exit up. Rico Mortis surely takes his 4th win of the season at the Nürburgring GP in Germany. Fantastic job for Team Kawasaki. Carlos Puntarino in 2nd place. He will be kicking himself for that mistake. But David Puntarino also crosses the line in 3rd. Almost. Great result for all 3 guys. That's a good haul of points. Brian Messiah, who is aptly named the Shark from here on in, crosses the line in 4th place. That's a cracking result for Brian. And Artie Fenati over the line in 5th, with Slugsy Malone coming over the line in 6th place. Fantastic result. And if my vision does serve me correctly, Wyatt Earp takes 7th place on his 1st round back. Fantastic stuff for Wyatt Earp. That's a great result, Dave. That is a fantastic result as Archie Angelo crosses the line in 8th. He'll be a bit disappointed with that. Halen Banetti coming around the Coca-Cola turn for the final time. Managed to maintain that 9th place. Finished inside the top 10. Well done, Halen. Great job. And it looks like Alexanders will be crossing the line in 10th. He'll be glad to see this over, I think. Well done, Alex. So let's have a quick recap of the race results. 1st place for Rico Mortis, Carlos Puntarino in 2nd, and David Puntarino in 3rd. Brian Messiah in 4th place, with Artie Fenati in 5th, and Slugsy Malone, our wildcard, in 6th. Great to see Wyatt Earp back in 7th place, and Archie Angelo in 8th, Halen Vanetti in 9th, Alexanders in 10th, and Simon Bouquet in 11th place. Lydia Champagne in 12th, and a shame to see Gerd Bies and Fabio Detrelli retire. So let's take a look at our podium. On the top step of the podium is Rico Mortis, followed by Carlos Puntarino in 2nd place, and David Puntarino with another fantastic podium in 3rd. So let's take a look at the championship results so far. With a whopping 141 points is Rico Mortis at the top of the table, with Carlos Puntarino on 112, with Brian Messiah on 95, David Puntarino on 93, and Artie Fenati on 63 points. Halen Vanetti on 60, with Alexanders on 52 and Archie Angelo on 45. Simon Bouquet on 39 points, with Lydia Champagne on 24 and Wyatt Earp collecting 10 points on his 1st round back. So let's take a look at the team championship after 6 rounds. Team Kawasaki, at no surprise, at the top of the table on 179 points, with Team Kianis on 154 points, and Alien jumping up to 117 points in 3rd place. Team Tiger on 113 points, the British Racing Team on 96 points, and Team Affinity Racing on 63 points. So that's it, folks. In a fortnight's time, we broadcast from Belgium and the beautiful Spa-Francorchamps for round 7. But for now, from me, Dave, and the team, thanks for watching, take care, and goodbye.
Let's go!